What if I told you that when you're no longer there, it's not just your absence she'll feel, the realization of everything she took for granted? You might think that when you walk away, she'll simply move on. But what if the truth is that she begins to feel the weight of your presence when you're gone, more than ever before? The pain, the heartbreak, it all feels unbearable. But what if this pain is the catalyst for your transformation? What if the moment you decide to let go is when you reclaim everything you thought you lost? This isn't weakness, this is power. The power to stand up, move forward, and realize that you're not defined by what you've lost, but by what you're about to gain. Right now, you're at a crossroads. You can either let this heartbreak break you, or use it to become someone unstoppable. If you're ready to make that shift, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I control my future, not my past. Let's begin. Number 1. The shift that hurts her ego. When you walk away without a word. She never thought you'd leave. In her mind, you were always the one who stayed, no matter how she pulled away or played cold. She thought your presence was guaranteed, predictable, patient, persistent. So when you finally decided to disappear, not out of anger, not out of manipulation, but from pure alignment, it shook something in her core. At first she tells herself it's temporary. You're just upset, you'll come back, like always. But days pass, silence lingers, no messages, no reactions, no posts aimed at catching her attention. That's when the illusion starts to crack. She moves into the second stage, ego bruised. For a woman used to attention, your absence isn't just confusing, it's offensive. She was supposed to be the one in control. She curated the pace. But now, for the first time, she realizes, you were the prize all along. This triggers overcompensation. She might act like she's unbothered, posts more, parties harder, surrounds herself with distraction. But it's performative, because behind every loud laugh is a quiet question. Why isn't he watching? That's when curiosity takes hold. She rereads old texts, scrolls your page, wonders if you're talking to someone else. The man she thought she had wrapped around her finger has slipped right through, not because he was angry, but because he outgrew the game. And that's what makes it powerful. You didn't explain, you didn't accuse, you simply walked. With calm, with clarity, with class. And that act alone reframed the entire relationship. Suddenly, she's the one reflecting, the one doubting herself, the one wondering, did I take him for granted? Did I push too far? The beauty of the Stoic response is this: it doesn't seek revenge, it seeks truth. And when truth arrives, it never needs to announce itself. It's felt deeply in silence. Insight. Don't walk away to punish. Walk away to protect your peace. Let her feel what it means to lose a man who doesn't beg, only builds. Comment below. I leave silently because my peace is louder than words. Number 2. When her ego cracks. She can't accept being the one left behind. Some women don't chase love, they chase control. And when that control is threatened, they don't feel sad, they feel offended. That's exactly what happens when you walk away from a woman who's used to being pursued. It's not heartbreak that hits her first, it's ego collapse. She thought she had you figured out, that no matter how distant or difficult she became, you would still text, still call, still show up. So when you broke the pattern, when you chose silence over pursuit, distance over drama, her mind didn't respond with vulnerability, it responded with defensiveness. She's not mad because she lost you. She's mad because you dared to decide. This phase is marked by subtle rage wrapped in apathy. She may mock your silence, post vague captions like "some people were never real," or act effortlessly like she's moved on. But make no mistake, these are emotional shields. She's not indifferent, she's bruised. Why? Because she's not used to rejection. Most men she dealt with bent to her will. They explained themselves. They apologized just for creating distance. But not you. You broke the pattern. You weren't cruel, just done. And that kind of quiet exit is far more piercing than any emotional outburst. From a Stoic lens, this is where your power multiplies. The moment you stop needing to be understood, forgiven, and seen as the good guy, you free yourself. You're not trying to hurt her, you're simply no longer willing to be hurt. You didn't leave to manipulate, you left because you were no longer being met. And that's the one thing her ego can't digest, that you had standards that didn't revolve around her. Let her process it however she needs. Anger, silence, pettiness, it's not your concern. Your only task now is to remain centered, detached, unbothered. Because her true realization comes after the defenses fade. When the noise is gone, the absence starts to speak. Comment below. My silence isn't revenge, it's recognition of my worth. Number 3. When confidence becomes a mask, she pretends you're replaceable. After the shock and wounded pride comes the next phase, the performance. She doesn't text, she doesn't check in. Instead, she floods her social media with curated joy. Brunches, new friends, selfies, cryptic captions like glowing without you. It's a show. But it's not for the world. It's for you. See, she didn't just lose attention when you walked away. Not with bitterness, not with explanation, but with calm. She lost the comfort of believing she was unforgettable. Now, instead of facing that void, she tries to fill it by proving a point. That she doesn't need you. But here's the Stoic truth. What's loudest is often least true. Real peace is quiet. Real healing doesn't need applause. So when she's showcasing her new life, new guys, new glow-up, she's not over you, she's trying to convince herself she is. This is when many men make the mistake of reacting. They see her stories, they feel replaced, and they try to reinsert themselves to regain control. But the Stoic man knows nothing's more powerful than not flinching. You don't compete with noise, you outlast it. Because here's what happens beneath the surface. She's watching for your reaction. When she gets none, no views, no likes, no texts, the silence grows heavier. Her mind, once proud and certain, begins to doubt. Did he really move on? Was I not enough? Why doesn't he care? That's when the mask of confidence cracks. She starts comparing every guy to you, not because you were perfect, but because you were real, and real is rare. Her distraction fades. The people around her don't feel the same. The excitement of "I'm fine" wears off, and the weight of "he's actually gone" sets in. Your job? Stay steady. Not to prove a point, but because your energy isn't a product for validation. It's a resource, limited, valuable, and not given to people who try to replace rather than respect. Comment below. I don't compete with noise. I compete with no one. Number 4. When silence becomes a mirror, she starts to wonder why you never came back. At first your silence confused her, then it frustrated her, now it haunts her. This is the moment when her defense mechanisms begin to unravel. She's done pretending. The distractions aren't as satisfying. The nights feel longer. And suddenly she's not posting for attention. She's scrolling through old messages, revisiting memories and checking if you've watched her story. And when she sees you haven't, that's when curiosity turns into obsession. Because unlike most men, you didn't linger. You didn't plead, explain, or even say goodbye. You just vanished, with dignity. And that silence? It's louder than any argument, longer lasting than any closure. It becomes a mirror, reflecting something she never expected. She lost a man who wasn't afraid to lose her. From a Stoic perspective, this is the moment you remain most still, not because you want her to suffer, but because you refuse to sell yourself short. You're not waiting for her curiosity to grow into a message. You're not hoping she'll realize something. You're living without attachment to whether she watches or wonders. But ironically, this detachment is what makes her spiral. She thought you'd be like the rest, predictable, eager, hungry for any chance to reconnect. But every hour you stay silent is a message. You were the chapter she closed, but you're the story she can't forget. Now she's asking questions in her head she won't say aloud. Was he really over me? Did I misread his intentions? Is he with someone else? And here's the twist. She wants to reach out, but her pride won't let her. So instead she waits, hopes, tests. A like here, a story view there, a subtle "how have you been" text that seems casual but is charged with unspoken meaning. And you smile, not because she's reaching out, but because you didn't have to force it. She came back not because of manipulation, but because of your mastery of detachment. Number 5. When doubt creeps in, she begins to question everything. She once believed she had all the answers, that your silence was temporary, that your absence was a phase. But now, in the stillness you've left behind, a new emotion takes hold: doubt. At first, she dismisses the voice. He's probably just busy. Then it lingers. He hasn't even watched my story. Did he block me? Then it gets louder. Why isn't he trying? Was I not enough? And that's when everything starts to shift, internally and irreversibly. This isn't about love anymore, it's about identity. You represented a reflection she never fully acknowledged, someone who saw her flaws but stayed, someone who cared deeply but didn't beg, someone who knew how to walk away when disrespected, without rage, without threats. Now, that absence has become a space she keeps falling into. She scrolls past new conversations, but none feel the same. She goes on dates, but the chemistry feels forced. She smiles at texts, but her mind drifts back to you. Why? Because you didn't need to be needed. You didn't fight to prove your worth. You didn't compete. You commanded respect by disappearing with grace. From a Stoic perspective, this is the fruit of detachment. You didn't leave to be chased. You left because it was no longer aligned. And now she's the one reflecting, not out of guilt, but out of recognition. She starts remembering the little things. Your steadiness when she was chaotic. Your silence when she expected a reaction. Your discipline when she tried to test boundaries. And slowly the narrative changes. It was too calm. Maybe he really did care. Maybe I pushed away something real. But here's the key. You're still not explaining. No late monologues. No "I told you so." No rush to fix what she broke. That is what makes her question everything. Because for the first time in a long time, she's the one who doesn't have closure. Comment below, "I let them wonder," because truth speaks louder than chasing. Number 6. When regret hits. She realizes what she took for granted. At this point, she can no longer brush off the silence. The performance is over. The ego has quieted. What remains now is memory, raw, unfiltered, and uncomfortably real. She thinks back to the way you listened, without trying to impress, the way you stayed calm when she was emotional, the way you gave her space, yet always made her feel seen. And suddenly all those things she once labeled as boring or predictable now look like emotional wealth she couldn't recognize in time. Regret doesn't show up with fireworks. It arrives in the little things. The quiet car ride where no one understands her jokes like you did. The new guy who texts constantly but lacks depth. The conversations that feel like effort when yours used to feel like home. This regret isn't always visible. She might not message you or show up at your door. Most of the time it hides behind pride, but inside there's a gnawing realization she had something rare and she didn't know how to hold it. From a Stoic view, this is where your strength is tested the most. Because when she finally reaches the realization phase, you will feel it. Whether through subtle attempts to reconnect or the emotional energy she directs your way, you'll sense her pulling back toward you. But your path is not about reacting to regret, it's about protecting what you've built in your absence. You didn't go silent to manipulate her feelings. You went silent to reclaim your power, and in doing so, you made her see what words never could. That losing you wasn't just a mistake, it was a lesson. The lesson that emotional security is not weakness. That consistency is not boring. That being respected by a man who doesn't chase is a privilege, not a guarantee. Comment below. They remember you most after they forget what they had. Number 7. When instinct takes over, she starts to chase what she once ignored. Regret may be quiet, but instinct is loud. It overrides pride, rewrites memory, and drives behavior. Not because she planned it, not because she fully understands it, but because your absence has created tension, and tension demands resolution. This is when she starts to reach out, in subtle, almost casual ways. She might react to your story, drop a vague, "This reminded me of you," send a late, sick "hey" with no context. It's not about words, it's about energy. Her actions now carry a different tone. They're not playful, they're searching. Not testing anymore, but trying. Because deep down, she's realized something unsettling. You were the real thing, and real doesn't come around twice. Here's where most men break. They see the attention return and confuse it with validation. They rush back in, eager to reclaim what was lost, thinking, she finally gets it. But Stoicism teaches a harder, nobler path. Just because she's chasing now doesn't mean she's changed. You must ask, is she reaching for you or for the relief of her own guilt? Is she ready to reciprocate or just regretting being left behind? That's why you stay grounded. You don't ignore her, but you don't collapse into her orbit either. You assess, you listen, and most importantly, you remain unmoved by the allure of being wanted again. Because the truth is, you never needed her to validate you. The moment you walked away with peace in your chest was the moment you won. Now, if she wants back in, the standard has changed. No more one-sided effort, no more emotional games. She must meet you where you are, or be left where she stood. You are no longer the man she walked away from. You're the man she can't stop thinking about because you finally remembered your worth. Comment below. They only chase what doesn't beg to stay. Number 8. When the game ends, she realizes you were the one in control all along. At last, the emotional tide reaches its stillest point. She's cycled through denial, pride, confusion, regret, and impulse. Now, she's standing on the other side of silence, looking not for attention, ego boosts, or clarity. And what she finds shakes her more than your absence ever did. She realizes you were never reacting, you were responding. Every time she pulled away and expected you to chase, you stood still. Every time she tested your patience, you remained composed. Every time she tried to regain control, you'd already walked away. And that's when it hits her. She was never playing a game against you. She was playing a game against herself. And she lost. From a Stoic lens, this is the essence of emotional mastery. You didn't use silence as manipulation. You didn't disappear out of spite. You simply refused to be anything other than centered. And now, for the first time, she sees you not as the man who used to text good morning every day, not as the one who waited for her to choose him, but as the man who chose himself, even when it hurt, This shift is irreversible because the version of you that she took for granted no longer exists. In his place is a man who doesn't beg, explain, or chase. He builds, grows, reflects, and when needed, he walks. And that's the most haunting truth for her to accept. She didn't lose you when the relationship ended. She lost you when you stopped needing her validation to feel whole. Now every man she meets is measured against your silence. Every moment she feels uncertain, she remembers your calm. Every time she thinks she's in control again, she remembers the one time she wasn't, with you. And you don't need revenge. You don't need closure. You don't need to be remembered. You only need to remember who you are and who you became because of her absence. Comment below. I never needed to win. I just stopped playing. You thought you lost everything when you walked away, but now you realize that you didn't lose anything. You freed yourself. You gave yourself the chance to become who you were always meant to be. Your power was never in her hands. It was always yours to reclaim. She didn't take it from you. She only revealed the parts of you that were ready to grow. If you're ready to keep evolving and stepping into your true power, like this video, subscribe and comment below. I am unstoppable. Stay strong, keep building, because your future doesn't wait. It's already calling.